Hi, Bob Armstrong here with a demo that goes back to a letter on the SVFig group, which has got a piece of Morse code, as you can see, and also touching on the various things that I've seen from Ting and Harbold and elsewhere that makes me really feel that, particularly if you have got a background in Forth, you can think of doing something in Python, or you can think of uh, sort of working on making CoSy run in the Forth of your choice of your on whatever chip or whatever. Um, Let me go over here where I've consolidated. Yeah, I'll just go through this very, very directly and step by step, um, and that will be the complete video. Uh, One thing, this was back on the 2nd when, and so I've consolidated everything from since then. And actually, it's a good chance to show sort of the nature of the fact that when you have these static lines, they form a menu in themselves. I have these lines down here in the state window. Um, and text is just, of course, the name of the text window. I've got various, so I've executed that. I've F6'd that, so that symbol text is up there as the last result. R0 always contains whatever is the result of the last action, and that's all of these things are in the root directory, and which is the default directory. So dv fetch here is grab the variable. Well, R0 is going to be text. Okay, grab the value of text from there, and that's the text that's in this window. Dayline cuts it on daylines, and so which are these just these lines which are inserted with F12, and let me put an F11 down. Coming back down here, splits it on that, and con goes and returns the segments containing that. So here are my notes, which refer to the email from Curtis Schreier here. And I started then working through this to essentially say, okay, let me see how you would handle this in a Python or some other alternative interactive environment. So in any case, what I did to start with is just copied and pasted uh, the code into the result window, and then I captured that result into the variable t0. And let me just put a comment symbol in here so that it'll just execute t0. So there's that's stored in this permanent variable, i.e. it's stored in the root directory. And one of the things, something to go and take a look at it, converting the characters to their integer values makes it clear what they are. Here, let me execute it to get what this has done. T0, it's got a couple of line feeds in here, which turns out I probably should have left in because those really end up being the word separators. Didn't realize that, and this is an empty vector. Notice one of the things in fourth, this is the word, this starts a CoSy string, and well, actually the word, since it has to be white space separated, is that, and then it's closed by the close quote. SSR, which if you go and look at the details and so forth, that and toke split, running into edge conditions where there's empty, when there's no occurrence of things actually, has caused even some kludging and things to be straightened out. It's typical of APL programming. In any case, let me split this in some ways. Let me split this out so you can see this is actually a two-item vector, the first of which, it's kind of hard to tell because the first of which is well, let me do 0 at, that's a, now you can't see anything. Anyway, read the docs for SSR essentially, or actually let me do that. Let me not just talk about it. Yeah, replaces it, takes a string, and it takes two phrases, and they have to be made into a two-item list, so that is passed to SSR, and it replaces occurrences of S0 with S1. And actually, it's got some issues when it runs into no occurrences. Still have to get balanced out. In any case, let's see where we were. Go back here. Replace those line feeds. Get them out of the way, and it stores that in a temporary variable T0. And now let me execute this, because one of the things is it took me a while to realize those were underscores, not dashes. But let me just replace them all with dots. And then the break between words I found to be four dots are a dash, so that replaced that. And then the space between words is 4 blanks. So this is blanks, and then 4 take goes and replicates that to get 4, and then toke split split it into lines, and because there's a leading blank in here, it dropped the first line. But that gets us to cleaned up dots and dashes, and then this is actually also to take care of the issue with an extra blank, or the lack of a blank in this. Just bare dot again. It's one of those edge conditions that have to be revisited. This is one of the things, as I'm reaching the first point where I'm revisiting and cleaning up a lot of base code, but need to get other people involved in all forming the ecosystem. Didn't expect to run over 10 minutes, but there's a lot being done in these lines, and this is where let me see how you do this in Python. In any case, let's see where we were. The last line executed was this line right here. So that added a blank on that, particularly on that one line. So now I can delete them all. And now I am here with the pure Morse code, Morse code and saved. Now let me pull. Let me first do this. Long ago, I had put, this is the names of all of the items in the root dictionary. Actually, I did a search and I found it was last October, I guess, that Morris got mentioned, I guess, in an SVFig email, and I put the table in at that time. In any case, this is that table. I've flipped it so you can see, actually, if I just don't flip it, it's a 2-item vector, which is a dictionary, where it's 44 items long. And anyway, in any case now, this is grabbing, numbering starts at 0, so this has got the table, the Morse table. It's taking that second element, which is the codes, and it's swapping them with each of the codes we found in T0. We've abstracted in T0, and then applying this function right here to each of those, and then stringing across them so they're strung out. So there are all the indices of where the codes are, and if I go and use that as an index into the column of the first column, which is the alphabet, yeah, that's what we get. And it shows that I guess I should have done something else with those line feeds that were in there. Any case, that's it. Code is on GitHub. Branch it. Take a look at these problems. Evaluate how cozy an environment this was for solving the problems, because now obviously abstracting all that I've done here into a short function or a few words that are the constants is a relatively small task. Okay, over and out.